The Hard Truth, Season 9 with Akosia Konedu, proudly brought to you by EcoBank.
Let's talk about corruption, Kofi. NPP again has accused the government of massive corruption. According to them, the NDC government is very competent at creating, looting and sharing. And Dr. Baumia Yunus alleged that President Mahama hit the roof simply because his administration has been labelled incompetent, whilst ignoring the corruption label, meaning that he accepted the government that has lost the fight in corruption. Now, what would you make of these assertions?
And I always want to give examples that we all live so closely to. When I'm a father at home, or you are a mother in a home, and your children, for example, decide to go out and come in anytime they like, and you don't raise any concerns, and you attempt as a mother or father to justify that, oh, it's normal, yeah, see, they are kids, the adrenaline level is high, so this is not the first time that it's happening, it's always been like that, children will behave that way. You are justifying a wrong that which you should have made them understand that it is not right to be out for such long and come back home late. I expect, or the world will expect me as a father or you as a mother to be able to correct that child and let the child understand that you don't do this, it's wrong.
I'm listening.
Yes. President Mahama, did you hear how he described corruption? He said corruption is mass murder. He didn't just say, and he didn't say murder. He says mass murder. Nobody will want to be accused for murder, let alone mass murder. So if the president description of corruption is that it's mass murder, anyone attempting to go into it will know that he is committing a crime that should not be. Here you have a president who says that commit an act of corruption. Let it come to my attention. Whether you are in my government, you are in my party, or you are not, we will deal with you appropriately. And that is why now people are even boldened enough to bring out acts of corruption in areas that previously people were afraid to dare. Today we are discussing corruption in judiciary, and people have dared to go and make sure that they video and bring it out. The president didn't say, this will be, let's deal with it. It's been dealt with in the right way that we have all agreed. Before President Mahama became president, all of us in 1992 have queued to vote for a constitution and have agreed how to deal with people who go wrong. So it is not for President Mahama to come and say, this is the way I want to deal with it. All he has to is to have the solid commitment to follow what has been laid out there. And he's had that courage to do it. Shraj Boss was involved in something that people thought was wrong. They raised it. It was referred to the Chief Justice. The matter was investigated. It came up. The appropriate action has been taken. So when you have a president whose government has dealt with such issues openly, for everybody to see, including even the Judgment Debt Commission, to look into how public officers got government committed into paying all kinds of debts and what have you.
So that makes him competent.
If you have a president who has committed himself to all this, how can you say that he's running away from corruption? And that he was only interested in the incompetent bit and did not say anything about it? Because it's so clear that he is dealing with that canker the way we must deal with it, because all of us now know that if you go and do something, President Mahama will not cover you up. He would make sure that it is dealt with just like the way they would deal with any other person. So for me, that is encouraging enough the way to fight corruption.
We'll be right back.
The Hard Truth, Season 9 with Kofi Konedu. Proudly brought to you by EcoBank.
At EcoBank, we see a great future. One that's full of opportunity for those who want to be the best. With over 1,000 branches of a single bank across 33 African countries. It's a future where trade can flourish without boundaries. The future is breathtaking, with enormous cross-border investments helping business and government build new infrastructure, while individuals achieve their ambitions right across Africa. The future is Pan-African, and EcoBank is the Pan-African bank.
Welcome back to The Hard Truth, proudly brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and Kofi Adams is my guest. Kofi, let's go from here, talked about agriculture. He made comments that said that indicated that the government has not given necessary commitment to the agriculture sector with an estimated rate of 0.04 growth in 2015. It's a reflection in the situation. Now, the 2016 budget allocated that amount, that's about 554 million, which is an equivalent to 1.1 of the total budget figure of 50 billion. Let's look at what the Maputo Declaration on Agriculture is. It stipulates that the increase in agriculture annually budgetary allocation for agriculture should be at least 10% to ensure a growth rate of agriculture output of at least 6%. Do you think the government has prioritized agriculture enough?
So let me say that 0.04% growth in agriculture or contribution to GDP, for me, is not something that I should be proud of. But I'm surprised that Bawumia would ever think that that shows a very poor performance. When he was Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana, together with his government, we had a negative 1.7 growth in 2007. You should be worried. I'm not happy about the 0.04 contribution. That is positive. But I'm seriously was expecting him to be much more worried about the negative growth that they recorded. Agriculture would have to and must continue to get a lot more investment. And I think that we are seeing a lot, except that we are not trying to see that investing in roads in the rural area also contributes to agriculture. But it's like we've counted that out, as if infrastructure development in rural areas is not contributing to agriculture. Because when you build the road network, you do the feeder roads and the rest, what it does is that it makes it easier for agriculture inputs to get to the farm area and also harvest to be moved to the market centers.
So are you justifying the 0.04%?
No, I'm talking about that. We must not segregate agriculture investment as if it is just direct agriculture inputs. Infrastructure development in farm areas, like the feeder routes, should be identified as contributing to agriculture. Because transportation is key in agriculture. And if you look at the amount of money that, for example, Cocoa Board alone is investing in the cocoa routes, that affects positively the farm areas, close to over 3 billion. Before you talked about the replacement of cocoa seedlings, over 50 million cocoa seedlings free of charge that farmers can take. Then you have the plains, the Accra plains that government has promised to turn into a farm area. And the fact that we need, and this one is a responsibility that all of us,
you are forgetting.
Using your platform.
You are forgetting. 554 million is going to the aquaculture. Is going to Ministry of Food and all.
I'm coming to all that. What I'm saying is that
I'm listening.
Your platform is the hard truth.
Right.
We need to use it to also get the younger ones to accept agriculture as the place, the next frontier. I meet some of my colleagues and the younger ones. Oh, what are you doing? You say, oh, I'm not doing anything. No. I'm just doing some farming now until I get something doing. We must see farming as serious business. When we see it aside and we can pull ourselves together and establish cooperatives, we can source, it's easy to source funding that exists at various levels, because the risk of borrowing to a cooperative
no.
is less than borrowing to an
554
individual.
million. How much are you given? 554 million, equivalent to 1.1%.
I have not even finished, but don't forget that this is a separate, the Ministry of Fisheries
Right.
used to be under Ministry of Food and what? Agriculture. With
My question,
agriculture
Kofi, is
so the investment in agriculture,
it's so low. Why is
that's
that?
why I'm saying that.
It's
you
so
know why?
low.
You have it's because Baumia and Co think that we will just look at it.
This
and
is not
narrow it.
Baumia.
No,
This is the
narrow
budget,
it.
not
I'm
Baumia.
coming because they think that but who is doing the analysis that we're segregating? He's not seeing the investment in cocoa roots as affecting agriculture positively. So if you took away that and just lump that money in agriculture ministry, then he would have seen that we are investing so much in agri. The cocoa roads, I'm saying that when you build roads, for those of us who come from farming areas and who have been farmers, practically participated in acts of farming, we understand what it is.
Oh,
when you
Kofi.
do
Last
site
week,
routes.
I went with my team to some parts of Eastern region. Terrible roads. Went to see some of
So,
the farms.
so it means
Terrible
that. So it
roads.
means
Are
that
you even fixing the
constructing-
feeder roads?
So I'm just telling you the amount of money that has been voted in just dealing with roads. I'm just telling you. So if you don't add that, and you took that one out, that one is infrastructural design, and you only limit yourself to what goes into direct inputs. Let's not restrict ourselves. When you restrict yourself and just look at the microcosm and you don't see the effect that, for example, the Eastern Corridor route that starts from Esikuma all the way through Howe, through Jasikan, through Kejebi, through Inkwanta, through Damanko, Bembela, Yendi, all the way to hit Boku. The impact it will have on agriculture and all these farming areas. You go to the eastern region, you go to the western region, you go to the Brangahafo region, where the cocoa roast projects are going on. The impact that this improvement in the road network is going to have on the farmer, the farming community, and even the farm activities. You'll be making a mistake.
Kofi, there are fears of repeats of overspending by various sectors, in the upcoming election year. Let's look at 2012, the statistics. 60 million by the Ministry of Science and Technology, 200 million at the GIDA Center, 350 million by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, on and on and on. What would you say? Are we going to
just
overspend?
complain that not enough has been allocated to the ministry. So I'm sure that you would have expected much more to have been allocated. So if not much has been allocated,
in the election year.
I'm saying that if not much has been allocated, then how can much be spent? Because it is what has been allocated that will be spent. So if our concern is that not much has been allocated, then it means we are not going to spend by more than necessary. Because the debate has been that not much has been allocated to the various ministries. So if we are to accept that not much has been allocated, you cannot eat what is not on your plate. So if you are saying that the food served on your plate is not enough, then how can we come back and say that people are going to eat so much when the food, you have earlier on complained that not enough food has been put on the plate? So if the people have to eat, and even assuming that they finish eating everything on their plate, then per your earlier argument, they have not eaten much.
The Hard Truth, Season 9 with Kofi Konedu. Proudly brought to you by EcoBank.
At EcoBank, we see a great future. One that's full of opportunity for those who want to be the best. With over 1,000 branches of a single bank across 33 African countries. It's a future where trade can flourish without boundaries. The future is breathtaking, with enormous cross-border investments helping business and government build new infrastructure, while individuals achieve their ambitions right across Africa. The future is Pan-African, and EcoBank is the Pan-African bank.
Kofi, one of your comments that I heard, I'm like, Kofi is funny. You said Ghana will soon look like Dubai. Why would you say that? You're looking at the upcoming events and developments in the country. Recently, if you recall, Rwanda's capital, Kigali, was voted one of the most beautiful cities in Africa.
Yeah.
Why would you compare, Ghana to Dubai?
To Dubai.
I mean, how can that happen?
I did so because...
How can that happen?
Because it can happen.
Really? Waste management, for pollution, for town planning, really?
If you look at the the advantage Dubai had was that they developed out of nothing. It's easy to do that when you have free land and everything, just to pick up your pieces. The unfortunate thing about us in Ghana is that we have not planned over the years, and so even when you have to do something, you have to either break people's homes, do this or do that to be able to do something meaningful. But if you look at the methodic, strategic investments, today, I don't know the last time that you travel out of the country and came in. When you travel out and then you arrive in Ghana and you enter the arrival hall, you felt like, so this and it. But today, when you get in there, you see modern gadgets, you see an expanded arrival hall that looks beautiful. That is a critical example. Look at the circle interchange that I mentioned to you earlier. When completed, how that is going to open up that area. The Kasua interchange, the Eastern Corridor Road, the repair of the Odomi Bridge, the various other projects, the airport that is being done in Tamale, the international airport, the opening up of the Kumasi airport, and other areas.
Rwanda came out from civil war not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they are voted, a very beautiful city.
Yes.
And then how many years of independence? By God's grace, no civil war.
I'm happy that you started this talk on hard truth.
I'm listening.
And we all must contribute. I watched a certain play where somebody was working with a water sachet that he has drunk. Then he dropped it. It was the only one. Then he moved. The second person came passing and saw that somebody has dropped one there. He also thought that. Then he also dropped it.
Right.
Another lady came, another one came, and then it became 10, 20. When the first person was passing back and he saw a heap of paper bags there, he said, this place is so dirty. Look at all this. He's forgotten that he was the one who started it. All of us contribute to this debt. And it's becoming more like a certain cultural thing that we are losing our values. When we were young, in the village where I grew up, Akosia, every Wednesday was not a farming day. It was a day that it was compulsory. You have to clean your home, weed around, join in communal labor. If you were taking water from a pipe, go and clean the pipe, scrap. If it's a river, go and desal the river and do all these things. Now we have gotten to a point where everybody thinks that somebody else should do all those things for us. You hear people, if I drop it, Zoom Lion must come and take it. This one must come and do this. And all of us are just littering around by heart. I believe that let's grow with those positive values. We shouldn't drop those good values that our forefathers and our mothers inculcated in us. We are beginning to drop it.
So when you do all of that, we'll look like Dubai. Ghana will look like Dubai.
If we do all that and we stop littering, of course, with the various intervention government is putting in place, why can't we look like Dubai?
Kofi, why would you describe NPP as a terrorist group? Why would you say that?
I will answer that question because this is hard truth. If I give you a KVIP to build and you couldn't build it, why should I give you a story building to take care of? NPP cannot manage themselves just as a small political group. Why should we deliver Ghana into their hands?
So why are they a terrorist group?
I didn't say. One of their leading members, Dr. Nyawo Nyawuta Maklo, said they are becoming a terrorist group long ago. before the pouring of acid on their regional chairman, the stabbing of Sadiq, the destroying of their general secretary's car, the burning of motorbikes at their party headquarters took place. So even before this incident, he saw and said they were becoming. And now all these things have happened. Why shouldn't I conclude?
Now, so how confident is the president of winning the 2016 election?
So if you look at all that we have laid out in terms of affecting the lives of people positively, whether it is water, whether it is education, whether it is health, and all these will add up to make sure that more employment is generated ultimately.
So, Kofi, so we should look at unemployment. We should look at poor economic infrastructure. We should look at corruption, poor agricultural group, and say, President Mahama, we hand Ghana over to you again for the next 4 years.
Employment, when you have to say that you are generating employment, you must generate employment that is sustainable. And government leads the way in putting certain things in place. That will generate. Let me give
Which
you
is
just,
what?
Just
then when you come,
example.
don't promise jobs,
No,
good jobs.
no.
Give you the youth to get employment.
I'm telling you, let me just
don't
give
say
you.
that
Let
then.
me just give you. Do you
Don't
know Blue
say it.
Skies? Do you know Blue
Yes.
Skies? Not advertising Blue Skies. You know
You
Blue
are.
Skies. Blue Skies has employed a lot of persons. They are situated around in Sawan. The reason they situate there is that they can get some of their raw material they need for processing there, and they are also close to the airport, so that if they have to fly anything out, it's easy to reach the airport. You know that the president is investing in building another international airport in, say, Tamale. When that happens, if another jute processing company should come, or fruit processing, they want to go and establish them because they know they can also get raw material, they will get labor, and there is an airport to easily transport their products if they want to sell on the international market. This is what I'm talking about. Government doing so that jobs can be created. Building the roads will make it easier for private sector to also move in.
Okay, so if you campaign and then you say we are going to give you more jobs, you guys, you know, you heard from me. Because if we are expecting, you know what, Kofi, we are expecting that, you know, you create some environment. So if you create JIDA is sustainable.
The whole JIDA concept is not supposed to be, apart from maybe the civil servants who will be engaged. It's not an idea for you to go in there and remain there.
Of course,
They are
giving
models.
exactly.
They are models for you to get some training and some equipment and be paid for something that
But
you
do
are
they
doing and
even
then
get the
pass and
equipment?
pass
Do
and
they
pass
get
on.
the
I
equipment?
think
Do
that
they do
the
that,
Kofi? The
Kofi?
fact that a project faced some challenge does not mean that the whole idea that was conceived behind it is bad. What you do is you correct it and move on. This platform that you are giving us to talk now, I'm sure when you started it wasn't this good and flowery, but you face challenges.
Right.
But out of that, you worked and corrected it, and today it's become a program that everybody wants to watch, everybody wants to take part in. And people are now asking to be given the opportunity to appear on the platform because it's very educative, it's very incisive.
So your
That
point
is the
is-
way. That's the way to go. What I'm saying is that yes, you start a project, you start JIDA, it faces some problem. Some human beings are in there who may have contributed to it. They are being dealt with. It doesn't mean that the project is not good, it must not continue. So that project will continue. And that is why government is committed into still investing in that area to create, to give entrepreneurial skills and employment, of course, to some persons who will be employed.
So you think the MPP wranglings is actually making it easier for NDC to win?
Not at all. You see, whether wrangling or not, the records would have been so clear. Unfortunately, they have added wranglings. Because the records, if we want to go health-wise, we would have asked MPP to tell us which hospitals they built across the country. They will have none to give. MPP is the only party so far that has come to power that have not built a single regional hospital. They will have nothing to have shown that they did.
To find out,
if you go to expansion of whether airports or seaports, they would have had nothing to talk about. Education, secondary education. Looking at the number of schools that this Mahama administration is building, the MPP could not have compared. If you go to water, roads, they would not have compared. But they have added the worst case situation of killing themselves, maiming themselves, and all kinds of confusion in the party.
So, Kofi,
so it's making their case even worse.
it's a sure win for NDC in 2016, is what you're saying.
Ghana will be far better off with Mahama as its president after 2016.
Kofi.
I'm not saying that it's a sure win, but Ghanaians must not make a mistake, and I know Ghanaians will not make a mistake. Ghana will be better served with Mahama as president after 2016.
Thank you so much, sir, for talking to the hard truth. Kofi Adams, national organizer of the ruling NDC government. And Kofi, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nana Akosia Konedu, and the show is proudly brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And have a good evening.
The Hard Truth, Season 9 with Akosia Konedu. Proudly brought to you by EcoBank.